So what are the major supplements that you feel like people need to be taking that we're lacking in our diets?
So there's obviously, I split this into, if you're going to be working out and building muscle and stuff like that, that's one area. But just for health, 100 to 400 milligrams of CoQ10 every day. That helps us produce what's called ATP, which is how all of our body tissues, our brain, our muscles, everything, heart, everything runs on ATP. CoQ10 is also one of the most powerful antioxidants. So if you're worried about free radical damage that has been linked to cancer, CoQ10 is another great one for you. D3, okay, so I'm going to get in trouble sooner or later for this. D3 is not a vitamin, it is a hormone.
Yes.
The reason I say this is because the definition of a vitamin is something we cannot get internally. We can't make it. You can make D3. The other piece is that D3 signals your body, absorb that calcium ion, and then take it to the bone so we can make more bone. Absorb that chlorine ion so we can go make more white blood cells or more hydrochloric acid or whatever. So it's a chemical messenger to, one, help absorption, and then two, direct that ion to where it needs to go in the body. So I always tell people, you want as close to 100 if you're going to do a blood test. 80 to 100 is really where you want to be healthy, because what ends up happening when you get sick, and I don't care, pick your sick, cold, flu, COVID, I don't really care. What ends up happening is your body uses up D3 like its primary battle weapon. And so you go from 100 to like 30. And what's funny is that I have patients who are doing all this stuff right, and then I'll do blood work on them because we do regular blood work. And I'll be like, how have you felt in the last couple of days? They're like, all right, I mean, not terrible. And so he goes 100, 100, 100, and this last blood work, 30. So what ends up happening is that their immune system was so strong because of the D3, they had all these bullets to use that they didn't even feel like they had a cold or flu. They knew something was off, but they couldn't really place it. So D3 is a big one. So I usually tell people 10,000 IUs. I take 20,000 IUs a day, but I'm a little bit bigger person than others.
I'll do 50,000 3 days before and 3 days after a flight.
Oh, that's really smart. I like that idea.
Yeah.
So I also I'm a big fan of methylated B vitamin complexes because it's super important all the way through. And the fun thing about that is that you can't really OD on B vitamins because they're water soluble. Yeah. So if you think you need 100 milligrams and you take 250 milligrams, okay. And a lot of the B vitamins they're so cheap that take one more than you need and it's not that big of a deal. So those are some of the big ones. And then I'm a huge fan of collagen. And this is one of the things we get into in the chemistry. Like when people talk about macros, they talk about protein, fat, and carbohydrates. Your body doesn't need protein. It needs amino acids. And the reason I want to bring this up is because it's important. If you don't have enough protease, when you eat that protein, it can't digest it and break it into its individual amino acids. So histidine is great for liver. It's great for colon health. It's great for a ton of things. Isoleucine acts as insulin to open up your cells and force nutrients into your muscle tissues so they can actually function. Leucine has the highest muscle protein synthesis factor of anything that's out there. So I like collagen because it's a very, very, very clean, easy way for your body to get the amino acids, the building blocks of the body it really needs. And, a lot of those collagens you can put in your coffee and it won't break a fast. And so, but the other cool thing is if you're running keto or carnivore or something like that, and you're also fasting, people come in and they say, hey, sometimes early in the morning, I get a little brain fog. My brain doesn't work like it's supposed to. If you take collagen, it won't break your fast. But your body can actually take those amino acids and go through what's called gluconeogenesis, create its own glucose to feed the brain, and the brain will no longer have those slowdowns or those issues. So collagen's a really, really big player as well. Lots of people talk about hair and nails and joints and stuff like that. And yes, it does that, but it also helps with the brain and rebuilding every piece of your body. So those are probably the ones I say, look, you've got to take these. You got to figure out a way to get those in.
What about bone broth?
So I love bone broth. Bone broth's great. Some of my vegans are a little against that, but fine. Sure. I love bone broth because it gives you a lot of these same collagen effects. So yeah, that's fantastic. But if you're going to do it, I really like the one, if you're going to focus on the full 5 spectrum. So like I have a lot of people who do beef and chicken bone broth so that they get kind of a little bit wider spread, which is fantastic. So yeah, that's pretty solid.
Great. All right. So what about a couple ones for people that want to add muscle tissue?
So if you're looking to do muscle, so the biggest thing is that one, so you got to make sure you have enough sleep. You got to make sure you have enough water. tons of leucine. So we already kind of talked about that. So, if you want to talk about branched chain amino acids, within 20 minutes of working out, you want to do those. Collagen or branched chain amino acids before you go to bed so they can help. Lots of water. You got to make sure that you're eating enough calories for fuel. And then you've got to make sure that you're tearing the muscle tissue up. So when you go to the gym, you have to tear the muscle tissue down. You have to reach failure every day. So when I talk about failure, if you do legs and you can walk to your car, you did it wrong. Like you got to be able to, if you don't have to sit down and rest for 20 minutes, you messed up.
No, if you can do a controlled sit on the toilet to take a shit, you didn't do it right.
You didn't do it right. And the funny thing is people go, oh, so I have to lift real heavy. No, not at all. Like, I'm a much bigger fan of slow. You can take the same amount of weight. So like I have 20-inch arms and I do 30-pound dumbbells. Like that's like, I'll do 25 to warm up. I'll do 4 sets of 30, and then I'll do 3 sets or 4 sets of 25 again. So you don't have to lift heavy to get big. You have to lift properly, slow, controlled, perfect form. Those are the things that really get it. And people are like, well, I did 10. I'm like, then do 12. Yeah. Or, you know what? Slow down. If it take you a minute and a half, 2 minutes to do all 10, all 12, all 15 reps, the slower you go, the more force is put in the muscle, the more concentrated you can get that thing. So those are the big pieces that I see missing. Yeah. Everyone wants to point at testosterone, which, if your testosterone as a man is 250, we got to get it back up to 1,000. Mm-hmm. If your testosterone is, 20 or 10 or 2 as a woman, you got to get it back up in that 80 to 150 range. And so that is a piece, but the biggest piece, especially with kids, the biggest piece I see is that either we're lifting wrong, we're not eating enough calories, we're not sleeping right, we're not drinking our water. Those are big pieces, and then obviously like the nutrition, like I said, those are big pieces. Yes, check your testosterone, but those pieces are the ones that we can't play with. You got to get those in.